radar source here. Caswell County as well as Person County also see has the chance. I'm sorry, Rockingham and Caswell County has the severe thunderstorm. So if you live in Yancey, maybe Leesburg, and you look off to your southwest, you see those ominous skies kind of billowing there. And these severe thunderstorms are moving pretty quickly. Latest storm track shows these storms moving at about 40 miles per hour off to the north-northeast. That puts places like Yanceyville in the path of these severe thunderstorms. So again, major concern right now, in my opinion, would be the Alamance County or Alamance up towards Elon College back into Burlington. That's where we see the strongest wind gusts. Saxopol also in this severe thunderstorm warning, as well as the Mebane area, Hall River, and Green Level. So these severe thunderstorms are moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Again, some lightning in these storms, with the which always presents a danger in any thunderstorm that we see, because lightning can be deadly. So let's go back. Let's go back to one of our radar sources here. This kind of gives you a better illustration of the reflectivity. We'll go back and forth between reflectivity and the velocity. So again, if you live up in, I know for some reason my radar is not populating this severe thunderstorm warning, but Rockingham County and Caswell County also in the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, a lot of lightning now just southwest of Reedsville, and that's moving up Highway 29 Business. A lot of lightning coming in here into this area, as well as locations along Highway 158. So let's go back down in towards the into the Guilford and Alamance County area. If you live in Greensboro, you are clear. The severe weather threat is off to your east now. So this severe thunderstorm warning will likely be trimmed back again to clear the Greensboro area. But the main concern right now would be along Interstate 40 between, Wyset and the Graham area. That's where we see this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, potential seeing nickel-sized hail as well as damaging winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. These storms are also accompanied by very heavy rain and some lightning. And as we look back, we also have a new storm developing in the Union County area. Let's switch radar from the Raleigh Radar over to the Greenville Radar. Actually, let's go to the terminal Doppler radar here in Charlotte. This will kind of give us a better example. We have a new storm developing just outside of Unionville on Highway 601 between Midland and Unionville. So Unionville and Union County, Midland and Cabarrus County. So again, on Highway 601, if you're traveling maybe from Monroe to Concord, you will come through this storm. A lot of lightning being produced just to the east of Mint Hill on 485. So we will watch this storm. A special weather statement has been issued. That's kind of the precursor before we see severe thunderstorm warnings. So again, let's go back up to our storms here in the Greensboro area. We're going to change over to our Raleigh radar. And this will show you a nice line of storms from the southwest Virginia all the way through South Carolina as this line of storms continues to move into the area. Let's go down to the Wilmington radar. Let's check in on Darlington, South Carolina into Marion, South Carolina. These storms are just now beginning to bubble as we see this lightning intensify in the Florence area, Darlington area of South Carolina, as well as the Marion area in Marion County, South Carolina. So let's go back up to the Raleigh area. We will get latest radar returns here out of Raleigh. Let me get switched back over to the Raleigh Durham radar. And again, so if you live in the Burlington area, you are about to experience the heaviest part of this severe thunderstorm back into Alamance. This is again on Highway 70, Interstate 40. A lot of lightning associated with this storm, as well as some heavy rains and some gusty winds, upwards of 60 miles per hour. These storms have a history of producing some damaging winds. This was just north of High Point. Guilford County Emergency Management reported several trees and some power lines knocked down between High Point and Jamestown. So let's look at our reports here. Let's go on the weather chat here, and I just got a possible tornado sound here. So we've just got a report of some damaging winds in Rowan County. This is actually associated with the storms that are now moving through the Greensboro area. In Rowan County, thunderstorm wind damage. Penlick reports a few small trees down on the golf course with roof damage to a building there. I'm going to see where that tornado. I just heard in my earbuds here a tornado siren or tornado alert, which is in the NWS chat. I don't see anything, so maybe that was from previous. So I don't see anything. Okay, so the latest update with that severe thunderstorm warning was a tornado possible tag in that report. So again, that severe thunderstorm warning goes for another 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get back into our velocities here. So if you're going into Alamance, let's put these velocities in motion. So Alamance right now, this is where we continue to watch some weak rotation. Alamance, Graham, Burlington, you are in the kind of the crosshairs of this severe thunderstorm. Then it'll move into Hall River, Saxopol, Green Level, and Mebane, as well as a severe thunderstorm, the northern extent, again with some damaging winds possible for Reidsville into Rockingham County. So that is where the storm is. But let's kind of prog these winds right here. We can zoom in pretty tightly. So we're seeing anywhere between 45, 55 mile per hour wind gusts about to move into Alamance County. So we could see some wind damage out of that. I'm going to look on Twitter. We've got one screen, and so I've can only do so much with one screen here. So let me see if we got anything on Twitter from this. Let's go through TweetDeck here. See if we have anything with these storms going on. So just bear with me for just a second here. Just Alamance County, I don't see anything. I don't see any damage being reported via Twitter. So let me do this. Let's go hashtag NCWX. That'll kind of help us out, see if we see anything through that. So we'll keep an eye on Twitter as well. But let's go back to radar here. And this is what we are seeing now. This dangerous severe thunderstorm now moving through Alamance into Graham. So if you live in Burlington and Graham, it's probably a good idea just to get into a more interior location of your house. These damaging winds can produce some trees coming down, and that is a good place. In fact, we have a weather graphic we can show you here of some places to go in your house if we do see severe weather. Let's pull these up. And let's pull up this straight line damage and wind graphic. So they can exceed up to 100 miles per hour and affect large areas. Strong winds can knock over semi-trucks, trees, and power lines. Stay indoors away from windows. Avoid trees, power lines, and objects that could blow around. So again, I just got that tornado alert in my ear. Let's go back to the NWS chat here. And this severe thunderstorm warning continues now for Alamance County with a possible tornado. So tornado possible in this severe thunderstorm warning. So let's go back to our velocities here with Alamance and Graham County. This is where we could see that possible tornado. And while you look at the velocities, I'm going to send a message back to our chat here, see if we can get some more folks, if they're available, to join in. That way we can kind of tag team. Let me also send a chat and say, have someone monitor Twitter for some damage pictures. So again, this severe thunderstorm warning continues until 4:15. That's another 10 minutes or so. This is going to include Alamance into Burlington, Glen Raven, as well as Graham. So with this, you want to be in your safe place. You want to be in the lowest level of your home, in interior walls. You want to make sure that you have a helmet on to protect your head, as well as some goggles or some kind of glasses or something to protect your eyes if there was to be some flying debris. Also, a lot of lightning. So if you have been outside working, make sure that you are indoors now and away from windows. At least wait till the storm passes by. So again, let's put the storm tracker on here. These storms slowing down just a little bit. So by 4:10, we should see this storm move through the Graham and Hall River area. 4:25, it should be in Mebane. So this is a potentially dangerous severe thunderstorm warning. Gusty winds in the Alamance County right now. Let's prog that. Let's see what these winds are registering in Alamance County. So we're seeing about 50, 55 mile per hour winds coming through Alamance right now. So I would not be surprised to see some damage in that area. Let's go back to our other radar source here. You can kind of see this rotation marker showing up as well. We'll have to watch that. Let's just turn our velocities on here, see if we see anything. I don't see anything too terrible. But again, there is some rotation there, but nothing that really screams tornado to me right now. That's not to say that we could have a quick spin up. So again, this severe thunderstorm warning, if you live in Guilford County, the main threat has passed to your east. So Greensboro, this severe thunderstorm warning should be allowed to expire with you pretty quickly as we see these storms move off to the northeast. So let's see, any more reports in the area? I'm trying to see.
Scotty James is here.
All right, thank you, James, for popping in. If you see anything that is any damage or anything, let me know. We do see this severe thunderstorm warning again continue for Alamance County. There is a tornado possible tag on this severe thunderstorm warning. That doesn't mean a tornado is occurring, but there is enough evidence on radar for rotation to exist in this severe thunderstorm. So if you are in the Graham area, again, I am hearing more tornado reports here. So let's look at this. Good afternoon. Still monitoring a supercell in eastern Guilford County that is moving into Alamance County. Deep layer rotation is still present, but has weakened a bit. The rotation is somewhat broad. If it tightens, a tornado warning would be issued. So that is the National Weather Service in Raleigh kind of giving us that update with a severe thunderstorm. If we do see this rotation really start to tighten up, a tornado warning will be issued. But right now, the severe thunderstorm warning has the tag tornado possible. So that's why if you are in this area, it's best to get into your safe place right now. That is the lowest level of your house. If you have a basement, that's the best place to be. But if you don't have a lower a basement or the lowest place underground, you want to be in the most centralized part of your house, an interior closet. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside. You also want to make sure you have protection. You want to have a helmet on, some glasses, some goggles, something to protect your eyes. I know school has just now been dismissed, so maybe your kids are at home and you're not there yet. Make sure that you've called them, texted them, let them know, hey, you want to get into a safe place as this storm passes through. Again, travel on Interstate 40 is probably pretty dangerous right now between Wineset and the Mebane area. A lot of heavy rain with this storm, as well as gusty winds and lightning. James, I'm sure if you're still around, pop in if you want to. But again, this severe thunderstorm warning continuing until 4:30, I think, is what we've got. Yeah, until 4:30. The latest update as of just a couple of minutes ago continues this severe thunderstorm. Continues to show signs of rotation, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and nickel-sized hail possible in this storm. This storm does have a history of producing some wind damage. We saw wind damage down in the High Point area, as well as the Rowan County area where this storm originated. So it does have that history of producing wind damage. So this is something we'll continue to watch as it moves through Alamance County right now. A lot of lightning with this system. So maybe you're not in the most severe core of this storm. It is producing a lot of lightning outside of the storm. So if you live in Osprey or Green Level, you're probably seeing that lightning. And this storm is so big and so powerful that it's producing lightning outside of the severe core of this storm. So I'm going to go back into velocity here. Again, the rotation, albeit broad right now, is moving into the Graham area of Alamance County. So this severe thunderstorm continues to move through Alamance County. We've got another damage report here, I believe. This is our internal communication where we see things come up from the Weather Service. Thunderstorm wind damage. Fire department responded to a report of a tree down blocking the road at Ronnydale Road and Fairview Church Road in Trinity, and that is in Randolph County. So again, this severe thunderstorm, the supercell that National Weather Service in Raleigh has termed it, continues to move through Alamance County. So we've now got damage reports out of the High Point area, out of the Trinity area in Randolph County, as well as some damage in Rowan County. So this storm, as it moves off to the northeast, does have a history of producing some damaging winds as this storm moves off to the northeast at about, we're still looking at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Looking at the storm track here, if you live in Mebane, this storm will arrive in your location about 4:20, 4:25. If you live in Sweepsonville, this storm will be moving into your area about I would say probably about now as this storm moves into your area. So there's the rotation. Honestly, this last frame, it has weakened just a little bit, so that is good for us to see that. Severe thunderstorm warning also continues for, let's put that at the latest frame. Well, 1 second. So that severe thunderstorm warning also continues up for Caswell County. That is Reedsville as well. So for some reason, this radar is not detecting the warning, but Reedsville and Rockingham and Caswell County, that severe thunderstorm continues as well. So if you live in Greensboro, this severe thunderstorm is past you. But as we look back into, let's see, Remsor, I think that's Stately, Coolidge. This is back into Randolph County. That's where we also saw some damage reports come out of. And I want to just make sure I do have those damage reports should populate as they move in. So there's that report of the tree down in Trinity. That is also kind of lines up with the report we had just a little bit ago out of the High Point area as the supercell continues to move to the northeast through Alamance County. And this storm again producing very heavy rain, intense lightning, winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. We've had damage reports come in from that. It's also showing some signs of rotation, although right now that rotation has really weakened just a little bit. So we'll continue to watch this area, Burlington, Graham, Haw River, Green level. That's where we would see that rotation at. So this area right here where we kind of see the reds and the greens come together, that is what we will watch to see if it kind of tightens up. And if it does, the National Weather Service has stated that they would issue a tornado warning with this cell. So I'm going to put this radar in motion for just a minute. I'm going to grab a quick drink. Okay, so James, yep. I'm going to grab a drink of water right quick. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, if you could leave that radar up on the screen, or actually I'll show people some cameras and stuff too. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but if this system holds together, we'll watch for it to kind of start rolling into the triangle and out of the triad there. Scotty Powell will be back with us in a moment. Here is a look again. We're tracking this severe thunderstorm warning. It's outlined there for the counties in yellow. Severe thunderstorm warning meaning that we have a storm with damaging winds and up to quarter-size hail. It's moving now into an area where we don't have necessarily a lot of live cameras to show you. We have a good variety of those when it was back in Greensboro, and we also have some as it makes its way into Chapel Hill and Durham. We do have a few NCDOT cameras located there along Interstate 40. Most of them right now are showing me offline. I don't have any pictures to show you. I don't know if that's due to ongoing construction, planned maintenance, or some sort of power outages in the area. I can tell you right now across the Greensboro Metro, Duke Energy is reporting 3,000 customers are without power following the storm. Less than that as you make your way further back to the west towards Winston-Salem, 158 reported there. But again, 3,000 power outages right now reported across Greensboro, according to Duke Energy. Again, we are monitoring this severe thunderstorm warning as you join us here live on the Carolina Weather Group. We're expecting our radar to update here momentarily to actually drop off some of those older polygons for you, because at this moment it's just Alamance County that remains under this severe thunderstorm warning until 4:30, another 15 minutes or so. Again, we do have reports of damaging winds of 60 miles an hour and up to 9/10 of an inch thick hail falling as well too. And as Scotty Powell was showing you a few minutes ago, we did see some rotation inside that thunderstorm that was giving the National Weather Service a heads up to monitor for possible tornado development. At this time, we do not have any sort of tornadic activity that we know of, but it is something that is being monitored closely. Scotty Powell previously reporting on those two confirmed thunderstorm wind damage reports out of Guilford County, just to kind of show you the strength of the storm now as it continues to move towards Burlington and through Alamance County. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this, as Scotty mentioned, is not too far from Elon. Maybe I'll be checking for some campus cameras there. Scotty Powell, did I hear some sound on your end? Are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back, Jared. James, I'm sorry. James, I'm back. We are able to let you know that the severe thunderstorm warning for Randolph and for Guilford counties has been allowed to expire. So this severe thunderstorm warning just now moving through the Alamance County. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the National Weather Service issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Orange and Person County as this supercell really continues to move through the Raleigh Durham area. This is going to be just north of Durham, but this severe thunderstorm continues to move right now through Alamance County. Burlington, you probably just experienced a lot of craziness as this cell moved through your area. Again, if you live in the Mabane area, Woodlawn, you're about to see the most severe storm or portion of this storm move into your area. Let's look at the velocities. I want to make sure this is the latest frame. So here's the latest frame. So again, this storm continues to move through the area. Again, the rotation not as defined as it was a little bit ago. The Weather Service in Raleigh has said if the rotation really starts to tighten up, a tornado warning could be issued. But thankfully right now, that rotation is remaining quite broad, but we do see some damage reports coming now out of the Randolph and Guilford County areas, even back towards Rowan County. So This supercell does have a history of producing some damage and winds. It's also producing a lot of lightning. Let's go back to our GR product here, and you can see all these lightning strikes that are occurring, and that's some pretty intense lightning as this cell moves through. These little triangles here, those are what we call hailing icons. That shows you where we could see some hail falling in this storm. But again, the major concern right now is the damaging winds. So that is what we are watching for. Let's go back here into the Raleigh.
Hey, Scotty, I'm going to pop up real fast just to give everyone a ground view. This is from the campus there in Elon. We do have a camera. I know it's only one perspective. It's not necessarily showing us right now, I think, the worst or the strongest parts of the storm, but we do have a ground eye view there in the area to give us a glance at what's happening inside that county.
I will say, James, the Weather Service in Raleigh has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning, kind of what I was just talking about for Alamance, Chatham, Lee, Moore, and Randolph County, and that goes until 5:15. I will say, though, that warning does not suggest any tornado possible tag, so that kind of shows you that the rotation has weakened just a little bit, but that is a severe thunderstorm warning for Chatham. You should see that populate here in just the next little bit as the Weather Service just issued this. And this is honestly not the best timing for these storms to be moving through as we are at Friday evening about 4:20 p.m. This is kind of the ramping up of rush hour. And that means it's going to be a pretty stormy commute for people in the Burlington area, towards Pittsboro and Durham and even into Raleigh as this line of strong to severe thunderstorms continues to move through the area. And we are monitoring the severe thunderstorm right now in Alamance County. A good thing for folks in Alamance and Burlington and Elon, the severe portion of this storm has passed through. That is now moving into Graham and Hall River, Green Level, and Mebane as it continues to track along Interstate 40 and Highway 70. If you live in northern Orange County, north of Eflin and Hillsboro, maybe into the Person County, Hurdle Mills, Timberlake, that is where this looks like the largest part of this severe thunderstorm will be moving through, or the most severe part of this severe thunderstorm will be moving through that area over the next 45 minutes to an hour. And I just heard a siren
continuation of the bulletin. Yep.
Yeah. So the continuation.
They reintroduced the possible tornado. I think we should preface to folks that's not a tornado warning, but they are watching some rotation. I'll let you read off the bulletin.
Yeah, that is correct. So the potential rotation has. Or the rotation in the storm has that potential tornado tag. And looking at the velocities right now, that would be towards the Hall River and Green Level area. Again, it's tightened up just a little bit more. So that is where the continuation, we can go into that warning. Let's see if it's updated in our radar scope. If not, I will go over to the Weather Service and read it. So this is the most up-to-date. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 4:30. At 4:20, severe thunderstorm was located near a line extending from Jericho to Graham to 8 miles south of Burlington, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and nickel-size hail possible in this storm. They are continuing to watch that slight rotation. Locations to be impacted include Burlington, Graham, Mebane, Hall River, Alamance, Lake Kennebec, Park and Marina, Glen River, Union Ridge, and Lake Burlington. Again, if you are in the path of this severe thunderstorm warning, you want to make sure you are in the most centralized location of your home. If you have a basement or a storm cellar, obviously that's the best place to be. But if you don't, you want to be in the most centralized location of your home. Make sure you have as many walls between yourself and the outside. These storms do have a history of producing some damage and winds with downed trees and power lines. So obviously, if you have trees around your home, you want to be away from those as far away as possible. And these storms producing upwards of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, that can lead to trees being down, and with the saturated soils from the rain, it doesn't take a lot of wind to produce these damaging winds. So again, this severe thunderstorm warning continues for another 8 minutes or so, 6 minutes or so in Alamance County. And then this is the new severe thunderstorm warning. That's a much larger severe thunderstorm warning. And that goes until 5:15, I believe. We can read that off.
That's correct.
Northern Moore County, southeastern Alamance County, southeastern Randolph County, Lee County, and Chatham County in central North Carolina. Severe thunderstorms located along a line extended from 7 miles west of Cellar City to 7 miles northwest of Pinehurst, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Hazard 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. James, I have noticed that these storms have slowed down a little bit. At first, we are seeing these storms move 35 to 40 miles per hour. Now these storms are starting to slow down into the 25-mile-per-hour range, and that just means we're going to see more rain, more the possibility of seeing more damaging winds as these storms move through. And in fact, I think a flood advisory was issued.
Yep, you read my mind, actually. I was going to say, to that point, we actually do have a flood advisory that is in effect for urban and small streams in northern Randolph County and Guilford County. This is obviously where the storm came through previously, but even now that the strongest of the storm has moved out, we're still getting multiple reports of pooling and ponding and of water because of the heavy rain that came through associated with this storm. So again, these thunderstorms have a history of producing that heavy rainfall moving from west to east that is causing some street level flooding and some small stream flooding. And again, this current flood advisory is in effect for Greensboro, High Point, Asheboro, and some other locations as well too there, Scotty.
And James, we have Tammy watching us, and she was wanting to know anything going on towards Richland County, South Carolina. Tammy, I'll get to that in just a second. I wanted to pop up this graphic here. The severe thunderstorm warning, really the major thing is the straight line winds. And here is why you want to stay away from the outdoors or the periphery of your house, because of those straight line winds can bring trees and power lines and tree branches down close to your house, and you don't want to be anywhere around those windows or anything if a tree branch or a tree was to fall near your house. So these straight line wind damages can do just as much damage as a tornado can. Looking again at the severe thunderstorm warnings, I believe we just got a new warning issued for the Chapel Hill area, as well as Carrboro and Graham, North Carolina. So that'll populate in just a second here on our radar. But again, that is a continuation of this severe thunderstorm that has been producing some weak rotation over Alamance County. So now Orange County will be extended into the severe thunderstorm warning, and that includes Hillsboro and Chapel Hill. So, James, maybe we can pull up something from UNC, or I'm sure there's
a couple Chapel Hill cameras too that are provided via WeatherStem that I think will probably be a few minutes early here, but as this begins to move into this location, we should have a nice bird's eye view, or ground level view rather, of this severe thunderstorm as it pushes here from west to east.
It is. Let's look at the velocities here. We'll see if we can see anything with this rotation. I want to get to the latest frame. And that looks to be the latest frame according to Radar Scope. And you can see that Hall River Green Level Woodlawn right now. That's where we see the highest wind potential. It does look a little bit weaker, so that is a good thing. As right now you are seeing on our stream right there, that was Carter Finley Stadium at NC State and Raleigh. So as you can see, those dark storm clouds moving into the area. We're back to the velocities now. But this Bowen segment right here, so Mabane, Woodlawn, Green Level, that's where we could see the potential of seeing some damaging winds. We'll watch this. Thankfully, right now it looks to be a little bit weaker. But we'll continue to watch that. Hillsboro, this storm moving towards your area, as well as Carrboro and Chapel Hill. And then we have these other storms, and we've seen the winds really kind of spike up near Cellar City as these storms move through the east or central Piedmont areas of North Carolina. So that is The kind of the story here, the damage and wind potential is the biggest potential that we are seeing. But as James just talked to, yes, go ahead, James.
I was going to say two things. Production note, I do have a monitor feed coming back to you now. You can see what's on air in real time. Second, for those at home, you're looking right now at NC State in Raleigh, where this storm has not yet arrived. But take a look, as you can probably hear the excitement in my son's voice as well, too. The flags on the right side of the screen really now showing those approaching winds.
They are, and I believe, James, if you want to, I just seen it come across a new flood advisory. I haven't been able to read that yet, so maybe if you want to look at that, we can talk about that in just a second. But again, NC State, Raleigh, we're still right here, so you're kind of looking back. Those winds that you're seeing, let's go over to our GR product, and if I put it in motion, you can really see this the stuff out ahead of these storms. That more south-north motion, we're seeing a lot of wind, the lower level jet really pushing a lot of moisture, and that's creating some wind. So that's where you see those heavy winds there, gusty winds on top of the NC State football stadium out ahead of this main line of storms that continues to move through the area. So I'm going to stop the radar in motion here, and James, whenever you get that flood advisory, let me know.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we do have a new flood advisory. If you could actually just widen out, this overlaps with the current severe thunderstorm warnings, and so we'll have it drawn on your map there shortly. But again, we are monitoring now for urban and small stream flooding for Moore, Randolph, and Chatham counties. These are new flood advisories in addition to what we were telling you a moment ago about back across the Greensboro area, because we do have these heavy rains that are moving at a slower pace now across these counties, and this will go now until 6:30 because of that Doppler indicated severe thunderstorms with torrential rainfall moving northeast at only 25 miles an hour. Rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches per hour were occurring, and that's what's going to contribute to this urban and small stream flooding in the advisory area. So up to 2 inches of rain have already fallen, Scotty, and more is on its way. So if you live in a low-lying area, if you're conducting outdoor activity, you're probably going to want to go ahead and seek shelter on higher ground. This is going to be especially true if you're trying to get an early start on your Friday and maybe we're heading out to a campground or something. Locations inside this new flood advisory include Southern Pines and Pinehurst, Liberty, Robbins, Foxfire, and Taylortown. So we'll continue to watch the flooding threat along with the severe wind and hail threat. And Scotty, our weather stem camera at NC State now showing some lightning moving into the area as well too.
Very good. We can pop that up here momentarily. But James, as well as anybody, you live in the Charlotte area. We're reaching 4:30. This is kind of the peak time of rush hour, and we've got this heavy rain and these flood advisories. It's going to be a rough commute if you live anywhere between Greensboro and Raleigh this afternoon.
Yeah, especially if your commute does take you along any sort of waterways. We're not expecting any major widespread flooding, but if there is a part of your route that maybe crisscrosses with a local stream, or maybe it's just a low-lying area that everyone in the neighborhood knows every time it rains, this section of road floods for whatever reason, this is that type of scenario where you're probably going to see that contributing to your evening commute. Very
well. Very, very much true. So I see that we have the we're kind of flipping back between Chapel Hill and Raleigh. Thank you to Weather Stem, who allows us to provide these cameras and data to you. So we are watching a pretty, it's actually 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, but honestly, this whole line now from the almost the North Carolina, Virginia line stretching down through the Southern Pines area, this whole line is a severe thunderstorm warned now. For the potentials of seeing some gusty winds upwards of 60 miles per hour and the possibility of seeing some nickel-sized hail as these storms move through the area. The one storm of interest right now continues with the tornado possible tag is the storm over Alamance in Orange County. At times it has had some signs of rotation. Right now, thankfully, that rotation is weakened a little bit, but we continue to see these storms move into Orange County. And this Bowen segment right here, that is where the most damaging part of these gusty winds will be. That's getting ready to move through Mabane. There's a big the Tanger shopping outlet there. So if you know anyone who's there, make sure they know that. And this wind has the history of producing some damaging winds back into the High Point area, as well as Trinity, and even into Rowan County, where this supercell originated. So these storms moving off to the north-northeast at about 30 miles per hour or so. And not only do we have the severe weather threat, but the flood advisory issued out for a large chunk of this line, as well as James was just talking about, up to 2 inches of rain possible in this line of storms. And it's slowing, this line slowing down, so we could will probably see some higher rainfall amounts with this line as well. And even the lightning threat continues as well. It's producing a lot of lightning. So we have that new update for this severe thunderstorm warning up in the northern part of North Carolina. Let's see if that's up to date.
Yeah, they just trimmed it. If you're near the Danville, Virginia metropolitan area, if you're near the border, they just dropped the warning there. The warning now starts from about Yanceyville and continues south to just north of Rockingham.
Okay,
so we combined all these warnings into one big sector.
So it's kind of like this whole entire line now is warned on the on this line as it moves into the Raleigh area. Looking at a new damage report coming out of the Guilford County area. Thunderstorm wind damage. Power line fell on a tree, which sparked a small fire. This is in the Lake Townsend area of Guilford County. So another severe weather report, damage and wind report coming out of Guilford County. And we'll probably, James, see these continue to filter in over the next couple of minutes as these storms kind of move out. People are able to assess the damage of what has moved through their area. So, again,
on social, we have a question/request from our old friend Joey and Jacob, wondering when we get the opportunity if we could take the radar back to when this was moving through Randolph County to get a closer look at any possible rotation there. When the opportunity might present itself as we continue to track this line, if that's something that you might have on your capability there, Scotty.
Yeah, we can. I'm not sure how far back this will go. This will probably be about an hour or so back. I think the radar's in sales mode, so we won't be able to go back as far as we could. But this is as far as we've got right now. In the damage right here, you can see that the line had already moved through the High Point and Archdale area. But we'll go through this, and you can see there's some rotation here just north of the Greensboro area. We'll continue to go through this, and then it kind of deepens right here between Julian and Alamance, and that's where we'll I went through that way too fast. So here was that rotation, and at one point our radar really picked up on the rotation here over the Alamance and Belmont area. I'm sure we'll probably see some more wind damage reports come out of this area, because even, the winds at that time were upwards of 55 to 60 miles per hour. So, and then it kind of weakens a little bit as it moves through Graham. So that is kind of a time lapse of the rotation over the past hour of that storm. But you can kind of see this Bowen segment. That's where we see the most damaging winds with this storm. So let's go back here to reflectivity. This is now going to be moving into the Efland area, Hillsboro, as it continues to cross Interstate 40 into Orange County. And another thing is you can see these lightning strikes outside of the main line. That's what we kind of call positive lightning. You may have heard it as king lightning. These are cast out of the top parts of the clouds, and they can extend 10 to 15 miles outside of the main core of the storm. So you may be in Chapel Hill or even Durham, and you may hear thunder or see lightning. That's because these storms continue to intensify as they move across the Piedmont areas, and we can see that lightning. So remember, if thunder roars, go indoors as these storms move into the areas. So there was that latest damage report from the tree that sparked a small fire. That is just north of the Greensboro area. That's kind of where that rotation died off, and new rotation or broad rotation formed towards the Alamance area. So that is the most up-to-date radar. We'll go back to velocities here, and let's go in and see what we got here. Make sure we're at the most latest frame. Here's the latest frame. So this will be moving in now into Orange County. So if you live in along Interstate 40 or north of 40 in Orange County, the most severe portion of this storm with the damaging winds will be moving into your area. There was the trimmed back severe thunderstorm warning that James was just talking about. And that is a different weather office. That's up in the Blacksburg area. So 2 different weather offices dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning. And as we go back into the southern half, no real rotation features, but we do see some gusty winds. Let's kind of see how fast these winds are going according to radar. And we're looking anywhere between 40, maybe 50 mile per hour wind gust in the just outside of Carthage and Robbins, North Carolina, even Cameron, North Carolina. So this will be moving up into the Sanford area as well as Goldston if these storms continue to hold together, and I don't see why they wouldn't. So we've also got some flood advisories out for if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, you're under a flood advisory as well. Up to 2 inches of rain has fallen in this area. And this line of storms continues to slow down just a little bit, so we could definitely see some more rain pile up in these areas as it moves into the Raleigh, Durham metro area. So this is a line of severe storms. I'm going to go back, and this is – did they update this? This may be the most up-to-date. No, there we go. So here's the most up-to-date severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. It shows a marginal threat now from Charlottesville, Virginia, where a good buddy David Reese lives, all the way through the Greensboro, Raleigh area into Fayetteville and down into the Florence, South Carolina area. So that is the marginal risk of severe weather. That is a level 1 of 5. And the particular threat with this would be the damage and winds, although we have seen the tornado threat is not high, but it's not low. It's quite low, but it's not 0. So the potential of seeing some weak spin-ups, quick spin-ups are not out of the question. And here's that damage and wind threat that we were talking about. The hail threat, not too bad, and the tornado threat, well, there's the tornado threat. It's up to 5% now, so that is 2%. That is a change from a little bit earlier. So this area is what we call a non-zero threat. So we don't have a high threat, but we don't have a 0 threat. It's kind of a low threat, very low threat of tornadoes between Greensboro, Raleigh, up into the Virginia, North Carolina line. So that is the latest from the the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm going to pop up this graphic once again. This is talking about the straight line wind damage. That is what our biggest concern is with these storms as the severe thunderstorm line moves through North Carolina, central and eastern North Carolina, as it's going to move into the Raleigh metro area. So these straight line winds can do just as much damage as a weak tornado. Definitely can produce some wind damage with trees coming down and some power lines coming down. We've already had a few reports of that. So if you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, you want to make sure that you're in the most interior location of your house. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have a basement or a storm cellar, that's the best place to go. And if you don't, you want to be in that most centralized location of your house. So I'm going to go back here. Yes, go ahead, James.
To you and our audience at home, I will be stepping away momentarily, but our buddy Evan Fisher will be joining you to carry out severe weather coverage. So, Scotty and Evan, I'll leave it in your hands for a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, James. I appreciate it. And Evan, welcome to the show. Jump in whenever you want to. We just got the newest update out of the severe thunderstorm warning for Alamance, Chatham, Lee, and Moore County. So we'll show that to you on radar. That would be this update right here, and I'll go ahead and read it to you. The severe thunderstorm remains in effect until 5:15 for northeastern Moore, southeastern Alamance, Lee, and Chatham County. At 4:41, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from Cellar City down to Carthage, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Again, 60 mile per hour wind gusts and up to nickel-sized hail possible with these storms. Locations that could feel some impacts would be Sanford, Pittsboro, Carthage, Cellar City, Goldston, Cameron, Lemon Springs, Snow Camp, Gum Springs, and Harper's Crossroads. So that is the latest on this southern flank of the severe thunderstorm warning. We continue to watch the northern flank of the severe thunderstorm warning as it moves into Orange County. So if you live in Orange County along or north of Interstate 40, that is where this wind is the most damaging part. But honestly, looking at the last few frames, we have seen the winds kind of decrease a little bit. We were seeing anywhere between 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. We're now seeing wind speeds, at least according to radar, in the mid to upper 20s. So that is a good sign as this system moves into Orange County. Looks like the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for Caswell County, and we can go up to that right now with radar. So this severe thunderstorm warning right here has been canceled. So that would be for locations just south of Yanceyville and to the southwest of Roxboro. So this portion of the storm, severe thunderstorm warning, has been canceled. Looking back, this is a little interesting. We'll watch back over Cellar City. And I guess right now our attention turns down towards the Sanford area as we see some gusty winds developing with these storms. And they are moving off to the north-northeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. They will be moving into the Goldston area by about 4:45 or so, and even into Sanford by 5 p.m. Evan, I know you're on, so do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Scotty, I would just say that for that southernmost severe thunderstorm warning, the National Weather Service has taken the tornado possible wording out of that warning. Although there are still some bulges in the velocity signature there, so that'll just need to be continually monitored over the next 30 to 45 minutes. We don't want to have any tornadoes spin up without knowing them, but it's possible for there to be a weak thunderstorm warning. So hopefully these just stay below tornado warning levels, but it's definitely warrants watching.
Definitely so. And I'm going to pop up this graphic if I can find it. I don't think I can find it real quick. So I'm going to pop this one up instead. So these severe thunderstorms are producing a lot of lightning as well. So, you know, we're Weather Ready Nation ambassadors, so we also want to keep you up to date with all of the threats, not only the gusty winds, but also lightning. So remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. It is spring, so a lot of folks may be out at the park or playing baseball, soccer, anything like that. If you hear thunder or see lightning, you obviously want to head inside immediately and seek shelter in a building or a car, and wait 30 minutes after hearing the last rumble of thunder before returning outside. So again, these storms producing a lot of lightning with these storms, but as Evan was talking about, the tornado tag in that severe thunderstorm rain was dropped. So that's a good sign that rotation has weakened. And honestly, Evan, looking at radar, the northern half of this severe thunderstorm warning, the winds have really diminished a little bit as we continue to move this line into the Durham and Raleigh areas.
Agreed. Yeah, the risk definitely seems to be more towards those southern storms now.
Yeah, and I'll put this. We'll put this radar into motion, and what you see as I put this into motion, you can see these little isolated cells. I'm sorry about all this stuff popping up. As you can see, these little isolated cells, that shows us that we have a strong low-level jet, and that's really pumping in a lot of warm, moist air off the Atlantic Ocean and even the Gulf Coast. And so what's probably happening is these storms are really feeding a little bit more off of this warm, moist air as these cells up here got going first, and it's kind of rained and cooled the air out around it from outflow. So they're kind of cutting off that warm, moist air. And these storms to the southern part are now really starting to thrive. And that's kind of indicative to what the Storm Prediction Center has with their marginal threat. They have this area between Florence and Fayetteville in that marginal threat as well to see some severe thunderstorms. So we'll watch that trend for the next little bit as that severe thunderstorm warning continues for the southern flank. And we'll really zoom in here and we'll talk about some areas. So Tramways, Sanford, over towards Goldston, Pittsboro. That is that line of severe thunderstorms moving into your area. Goldston, you are probably right now experiencing the worst part of this severe thunderstorm, as well as Bondley and Cellar City. So that is Chatham County, and these storms are moving to the northeast. And so if you live in Durham, Morrisville, Fearington, Bynum, Holly Springs, down towards Haywood, watch these storms as they continue to move into your area. I think we've got the Chapel Hill camera posted right now. So some lightning being spotted around Chapel Hill. And as I'm not sure what direction that camera is facing right now, but these storms will be moving in from the south-southwest. So we may see the storm activity pick up on that Chapel Hill camera as we go throughout the next 15 or 20 minutes.
There appear to be some more storms down to the south too. Obviously, our only warnings right now are in that Goldston and Cellar City, and a little bit farther north, closer to Durham. But if you look farther south, down west of Fayetteville, there are a few storms that are below the warning criteria, but still warrant watching. The rainfall isn't quite as heavy, and the winds are lighter, but that is a bit of a radar hole right there. There isn't great radar coverage, so we need to watch that as that moves a little bit closer to the radars and see if the returns pick up a little bit.
Definitely. So you kind of stole what I was getting ready to say there, Evan. The radar coverage in this area is not the best. So the closest radars are in Raleigh and Wilmington. So this storm over Laurinburg right now is kind of in that radar hole spot. But Scotland County, Lauren Hill, Laurinburg, Gibson, up to let's see who else. Hoffman. These areas right here into 5 points, that will be something we'll watch. And as Evan was talking about, we're starting to see a little bit more lightning pick up in this area too. And normally when we see lightning increase in these storms, that means that storm is growing some. So we're also watching these storms back over Albemarle. Let's go to the Charlotte terminal if we can. Yeah, we're kind of out of range there. But again, like I said, we're working with a radar hole right here. So not a lot of good data with this area, but we're seeing some storms pop up near Albemarle as well. And so we'll continue to watch that. So let's go back into our Raleigh area. Let's go to the Raleigh radar. And so we were talking a little bit about that positive lightning. We just saw a lightning strike here. So these storms are producing some lightning well outside of the center of these storms. So like we said, if you hear thunder, go inside. When thunder roars, go indoors, because if you can hear thunder, you are able to be struck by lightning. So again, that northern half of this severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled for Caswell County. So we're watching this severe thunderstorm warning for Orange and Alamance County, as well as the severe thunderstorm warning for Chatham. Let's see, we have Randolph County, as well as Lee County and Moore County. And then Evan was talking about watching these storms back here over Laurinburg in Scotland County. So, Evan, anything really stick out? I'm happy to say it looks like some of these sales are really starting to weaken a little bit. And I've just let you know, I just saw in the chat here that let's get to the Raleigh office real quick. The flood advisory for Guilford and Randolph County has been allowed to expire. So that is some good news as well.
Yeah, I don't have much to add right now. It looks like we're just coasting with these storms. Not much strengthening, weakening to the north. So we'll see how they play out as they get closer to Raleigh and Durham and Fayetteville.
Sounds good. Just got an alert from WFMY. Lightning possibly has started a small fire at a small strip mall, and so we'll continue to watch that. But again, that's a possibility there. So, James, I know you're away, but I see that you're still controlling. Let's go to radar for a little bit, and we will continue to monitor radar coverage, and if we need to jump back in, we will. But we're going to go back to radar coverage, and if these storms really start to intensify, or if we see any new severe thunderstorm warnings issued, we will break back in for coverage. So for James Brierson, Evan Fisher, I'm Scotty Powell for the Carolina Weather Group. We'll continue to watch the radar, and anything really exciting pops up, we'll break back in for coverage. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings out for central North Carolina for another 10 minutes or so, and we'll continue to watch for further updates.
Scotty, if you could leave that on the screen for me, gentlemen, just mute your mics, and we'll take people to radar full momentarily.
Okay.